welcome to Indie Film Cafe. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody. I'm here with
Paul Aberson, known as the Moo Cow.
And we got Lady down here. She's happy. And we also have
Canadian Monkey.
All right. So we're going to do our top 10 with some honorable mentions on full moon movies.
Full moon.
Full moon pictures. So this is like our, down and dirty. We really didn't research. We didn't really research this into too much. We are big fans of full moon. So when we looked at the titles, these are what we picked. These are not definite. We may do another ranking later, maybe another time this year, or maybe next year. So we'll see. But we'll do our top 10 full moon movies. So I'll start first.
We should do full moon versus Troma, head to head. Boom. That'd be fun.
Ooh, that might be interesting. Well, we've already done Troma, so
That's right.
It would be interesting to do what our head to head.
All right, we would have at least 10, if not more than that, of Chris Seaver movies, and we could actually do like a 64, a group of 64, like they do in the basketball. That'd
Maybe.
be fun.
Well, yeah, we'll duke them out. See
Duke
what
'em out.
our favorite movie.
Stinky movie, duke 'em out. I like that title.
I like that too. All right, so number 10 for me is Shrunken Heads, which we reviewed, and we love that movie. It's so bad and so fun and so goofy. I mean, just like voodoo heads, attacking people with like powers. It's kind of a superhero movie in a way.
Sort of in a way, kind of weird. Yeah.
Yeah. So your turn.
Well, the classic Sorority Babes and the Slime Bowl-rama. It's just such a dumb movie. I mean, it really is dumb and just goofy and strange, and it's so 80s. And I like the fact that, Leona Quigley's in there, and, all the great Scream Queens are in there. And, if you turn your brain on to duh, I think you can really enjoy it. It's just one of those kind of movies. I think when I first saw it, I was like, I don't know about this, but, it's kind of a classic. So
Definitely.
got to have that up there.
All right, number 9 for me is Gingerdead Man, which I know he loves that movie way more than I do.
Oh, yeah.
And that's not that I don't love it. All of these movies are like my favorite full moon movies. So these are not to say that these I do not like, number 9 really isn't that bad of a thing. Full Moon has made so many movies that this is literally just my top 10 listing of my favorite movies that I could watch probably over and over again. And I probably do watch it over and over again of them. So like Gingerdead Man is number 9 with the crazy Gary Busey and Robin Sidney.
I know.
There you go.
So number 9 for me is Galaxy of Dinosaurs, mainly because I like anything with dinosaurs. I just think that dinosaurs are cool as hell. And even if they're weird stop motion and or puppet dinosaurs, I'm still going to like dinosaurs. So I'm afraid I don't have a whole lot of memories of this film. I have to go back and rewatch a lot of these. But I remember when a lot of these earlier movies came out and just like in videos, and I saw them then and hadn't seen them since and didn't have copies of them. So it's been 15 years since I've seen some of these movies. But I remember Galaxy of Dinosaurs was one I liked.
All right. Number 8 for me is the one that was number 10 for him, Sorority Babes and the Slime Bowl-rama. I really, really love this movie. This and like Creepazoids are two of my favorite kind of things. I did not put Creepazoids on my list. It is an honor. Is it an honorable? I don't even think it's an honorable mention right now. I love it. It's not. I don't think it's nearly as fun as Sorority Babes. I know he's not huge into it. Thinks it's kind of goofy, kind of whatever. But the problem he has with her, probably some of the stuff I like about it. I like that it's just too silly and like they didn't really know what they were doing necessarily, and they had a great title. The nymph that they have is just so goofy and off the wall. I enjoyed it. So there you go.
All right, so it was number 8 for me, right?
Number 8.
Number 8 for me is the first Killjoy movie. I haven't seen the whole group of Killjoy movies, and I have to say they start to get a little weird as time goes on.
You like the first Killjoy?
I like the first Killjoy.
It was an urban movie. Like, that was all black, like,
I know.
which is cool. I mean, except for Killjoy himself.
Right. It kind of reminded me, God, what was that movie kind of reminded me of? I guess a little bit of, the guy who you don't see in the mirror and you spin around 3 times and say his name.
Oh, Candyman.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me a little bit of Candyman in that regard.
And I think that's what they were trying to
Right,
do
right.
originally, and then Killjoy became more a whiter kind of base thing. When like it,
So I liked the combination of evil clowns, because who doesn't love evil clowns, with the whole Candyman thing. So
if I had to pick any of the none of the Killjoys are on my list, so just get ready for that. But if I had to pick any of the Killjoys that I liked, I'd probably say 3, because that's when like Trent Haga really took Killjoy, because he wasn't in the first one.
Right.
He was in the second one, and that's when he kind of took Killjoy, and it's kind of like how Freddy 3, like Nightmare on Elm Street 3, was like where Freddy started to really find his voice and became that character that he became throughout the rest of the franchise. That is literally what happened with Killjoy. I think Killjoy 2, they were kind of still working some kinks out, and Killjoy 3 was like, they figured it out, and then Killjoy 4, 5, and whatever is just them off to the races.
well, I've heard good things about the latest one. I just haven't seen it, and I haven't seen I think I saw up to like 2 or 3.
I think I have one of them that I got from Full Moon at their table and everything. So I know we've got more stuff to watch and stuff. So the fun stuff to begin to dig into.
There you go.
So your turn.
that was my number 8.
Your number 8.
So that's your 7.
My 7 is subspecies. I like the first one. There are very little ones that, if you see any of the movies on my list, there's only one that has an actual sequel that I liked out of all the ones. But like subspecies, I found to be like a lot of fun. It is goofy, it's silly, it's
Kind of gross too, as I recall.
yeah, it's gross. It's got Angus Scrimm.
Scrimm.
Not a huge role, but pretty good one. And it set the stage for the rest of the series and everything. So I liked part 1, 2, and 3, and I have not seen the rest. Which I think one's a spinoff, and then there's the 4th one. And I think they're thinking of doing something else soon with. I hope so.
There's a whole list of Full Moon movies I honestly need to sit down and watch. At some point, I'd like
Full
to.
Moon Party.
Full Moon Party. Sweet. So number 7 for me is a silly and ridiculous movie called Seed People.
Oh my god, I love that movie.
It's like Muppets, evil Muppets on a string, basically, and it's just so bizarre and silly. And I love the one part where the guy's like, the most horrific thing in the world is a seed, because it can attack you, or it can latch itself onto you, or something goofy like that. It's just so silly, but it was fun. I liked it. And then it's like at the end, it's like, what do you need to stop them? Well, you need ultraviolet light. I'm like, well, dude, the sun.
Yeah.
Dope.
Exactly. It's kind of like Gremlins and all those kind of
right.
like little creatures. It was filmed after Gremlins, I'm pretty sure. So
right.
I mean, those things, Ghoulies, all those things that Munchies.
There was a whole list of them.
Critters. I mean, there's tons of like little small things, and Full Moon loves their puppets.
Right,
and stuff.
right. And I love
that.
puppets, so that's really why I like it, because of the puppets.
All right, so number 6 for me is H.P. Lovecraft's Lurking Fear. That was a really good.
That's an honorable mention for me.
Yeah, that's a really good one. I enjoyed Lurking Fear. It's just very well done. Jeffrey Combs comes back and does another H.P. Lovecraft role that just is different than Reanimator, and different from Beyond,
Right.
and all the other ones that he's done with them. So there you go.
Well, in my case, it's one of my favorite books. So actually, the source material is one of the reasons why I like that particular story. So.
And I'm friends with Courtney Gaines, who wrote it
Okay.
and directed the film, and even though there's a lot of things he wishes he could change or whatever, I think all in all, it's a great movie.
And if you go by the original story, it's kind of a tough thing to film, but they gave it a good try.
Yeah. So.
Okay, so 6 for me is the original Puppet Master movie. Again, this goes back to just because I remember seeing all of them when they first came out, and the first one's always the one you like the best. And, there have been a ton of puppet and toy movies since then, of course. But the first one was the one that really grabbed my attention. I thought was a lot of fun. And, for me, it tends to be, most of your sequels tend to be not quite as good or not quite as interesting as the later ones. So the first Puppet Master was the one that I liked the best.
All right. So number 5 for me is Crash and Burn. I don't know if you've seen this movie or not, but it is.
So.
It is okay. So they had made robot well, they made Robot Wars, and they had made the other robot movie, Robot Jox.
Right.
Robot Jox was for Empire Pictures, and then Robot Wars was supposed to be like the sequel. And Crash and Burn is like, if you basically, it's a trilogy. It's still, I think, in the same universe as both of those things, but it stars Bill Moseley and a bunch of other people, and everybody is just so great in this movie. It's just so wonderful. I loved that. I loved it. I actually love it more than Robot Wars, and Robot Wars is by far one of my favorites. So I'm hoping they're going. I believe Full Moon is planning to release it on Blu-ray at some point. I'm definitely picking that up when I get a chance. So there you go. And hopefully they'll be back at Texas Frightmare, where I will be there next year for sure again. So you should come.
I should come.
You should come because
Is Robin Sidney going to be there? Because I'll definitely figure out a way.
And if Full Moon is back, maybe we'll convince her to come out. So
Continuity Monkey wants a smooch.
yeah, for sure. And that's not the only one.
Okay, so number 5 for me is a movie that I should have seen when it first came out, but actually Jonathan introduced it to me. Or it may very well have been that I saw it and completely forgot about it. That's what happens when you get old. But Arcade.
Oh my God!
Yeah, you forgot about Arcade, didn't you?
I did. That okay.
It was a lot of fun, actually. I was very happy when I saw it. I'm like, oh yeah, this totally like encompasses the 80s.
Oh my
for
God!
me.
That's
It's a cute movie,
okay.
and it's kind of epic in its Full Moon way.
All right.
Very cute. I am surprised you overlooked that.
Don't know why.
Because this is a quick and dirty list.
Quick and dirty list, and oh man, I would, fuck, dude.
I know. We'll have a definitive list at some point, and we'll talk about them in a little bit more detail.
When I can really do some more research to make sure
Right.
that because I mean everything on this list I love, but what I would probably do is take Shrunken Heads and put it as an honorable mention, so I can but whatever. You know what?
Moving on to 4.
Moving on to 4. Number 4 for me, Trophy Heads.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness, that was so much fun. It's one of the newer titles, and they were trying to do something cool with Full Moon streaming, where they had a full movie, but they cut it into like 4 different parts or 6 different parts, something like that, and you got to watch it at Full Moon, and then like a month later you'll see the next part, and a month later see the next part. And
it had a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. It had a lot of comedy to it, which I wasn't quite expecting it to be quite as funny as it was. And honestly, this should have been. This is my turn to forget because I forgot about that one. That should be in my top 10. That should be at least number 8.
See, we're both forgetting these things. But see, that's the thing. That would have been his
quick
top,
and dirty.
You
You forget
10.
stuff.
Okay, what's your next one?
So my number 4 happens to be the one that you were just saying, Shrunken Heads. I remember when I saw it when it first came out, and I thought it was funny. And then it's another one that I hadn't seen in a long time. And when Jonathan said, "Okay, well, let's review that," I was like, "Yes, that's a great idea." And so I got to rewatch it for the first time in many years, and it was just as much fun as I remember.
It's a blast.
So
It really
silly
is.
but
It's
fun.
so fun.
And of course, the whole sweater muffin scene is just one of my favorite things.
We had to use
The
that
boob
as like
snuggles.
Boob snuggles. We had to use that as a clip in the thing. So it
Boob
was kind of fun.
snuggles. It's
It was
adorable.
funny. Yeah, it was adorable. It was a good movie.
It was a good movie.
All right. So number 3 for me is the original Trancers.
Yeah, that's an honorable mention for me too.
And he was saying you hadn't seen Trancers in forever.
It's been so long, I don't remember.
And Tim Thomerson as God, he's so great.
I know.
As Jack Death.
Right,
And
right.
that character, that name right there, Jack Death, just perfect. I loved it.
And it's another movie that just encompasses the 80s for me.
Well, the first 3 Trancers are wonderful. Like, they are awesome. They've got it's the second and third have one of my favorite actresses, Megan Ward, and who's in Arcade, and I love her to death, and I think she's
She's
amazing,
very
and she was great in this. So, but yeah, she was in 2 and 3, and 2 and 3 are great. Don't get me wrong, but the first one really set the bar
Right.
for the rest of
Right.
them. And if it weren't for the first one, the other 2 would not exist.
Right.
So
And I've seen the first 3, and definitely to me the first one's the best one. So I would have been on my list.
okay, number 3.
For number 3 for me is Killer Eye. Love that movie.
We'll talk about that in a little while because it's one of my honorable mentions.
There you go. But yeah, it's just a fun, goofy movie, kind of strange. But again, I believe. The name. See, I wish I had prepared because one of my favorite
Jacqueline
actresses.
Lovett?
Yes, she's in there.
Lavelle.
And she's one of my favorite full moon actresses. She's in there, and it's just such a well-made movie.
Is it David Dakota too? Who
I think so.
Yeah, no, I know it is, and also. I want to say it's written, if it's not written by Matthew Jason Walsh, it's written by Benjamin Carr or something.
Okay.
Those guys write for David Dakota and the early Full Moon, the times they did Full Moon. Now David Dakota is known for doing Lifetime movies, or whatever. He does a ton of these Lifetime movies starring Vivica A. Fox,
Such a weird change.
Well, I mean, because he can shoot them really fucking fast. He shoots movies in really quickly. So I love David Dakota. We're going to talk about him in a second, but my number 2, Evil Bong.
There
the
you
original.
go. Yeah.
I just rewatched this recently, and I have never laughed so hard in my life. It is so much fun. It's actually like an hour and a half, which they get shorter later in time or whatever.
Weirder.
Yeah, and weirder and off the wall. I think, did you see 7 yet? Or?
No.
Okay, well, I mean, they just get stranger and stranger. I've heard the 7th one wasn't nearly as good, and I think it's because a lot of times they kind of rush these things and try to get them out by 4:20, and they kind of do them. They don't take their time on it. They just kind of rush into them, which is kind of a sad thing. I feel like. I mean, but whatever.
And it's on my list of honorable mentions. I can only take 420 humor so far. I mean, okay, I get it. But it's, the first one was cute. It kind of set the stage, and it really did sort of come out of nowhere as far as I was concerned. I didn't really know a whole lot of 420-based horror movies. So that was kind of cool.
There's a lot going on now.
There's a lot going on now, but originally when that first came out, I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
But it was cool, and I did like it. But it's on my honorable mention list.
All right, so you're number 2.
My number 2 is Gingerdead Man. I love Gingerdead Man. It's one of my favorite movies. Again, Gary Busey and, of course, Robin Sidney. Oh. And the strangely named Butcher Baker Man. Or
Butcher Baker.
The Butcher Baker. It's just so strange. And it's just very goofy and fun, but it has a kind of a serious undertone, too, that's a little different than some of the other Full Moon videos, and
for sure,
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was well done, and some of the other sequels aren't so bad, but it's the original that really gets me. And it's the movie that introduced the world, as far as I'm concerned, it introduced me to the talented Robin Sidney, and she's just sweet and wonderful, and has just all kinds of talent.
Sarah Lee, it was her character name.
Right.
Of course. Making fun of the baking things. So there you go.
Yep.
All right. Drum roll.
Drum roll.
Number 1 for me is now a tie because he brought it up. Originally, it was going to be Puppet Master 3 because you have to have a Puppet Master in there, right? And the third one, okay, so I want to go into this. My thoughts on the Puppet Master movies. So the first movie is pretty much just a bunch of puppets in a house. And it's kind of like, it's cheap, it's easy. Witch House does the same thing too, where the first one they had in a house, then second and third one they started going different places and they started doing stuff. Third one was set in Germany and during World War II, and brings Nazis into it and shows the backstory of the puppets and things like that. It was just fun. It was pure fun. It's enjoyable. I like it. I do not like haunted house movies where they're stuck in the house the whole time. It bores me.
Because they can just leave, but they don't.
Right. Like, you're like, why don't these people leave when they start seeing people die, right? Like, I don't get it. And especially with puppets, you can run away from a puppet, like, necessarily. It's
Except
just
this one.
Yeah. So anyway, but Arcade is also up there. So I would have probably put this as my number 1 and Puppet Master 3 as my number 2 had I thought about it. So I am going to mention Arcade as like my top 1 too. So it's a tie between Puppet Master 3 and Arcade as my top 1 because I love Arcade. My friend Dustin reminded me of it. I had seen it when it was out on video. And I remember wanting to see it because Peter Billingsley from Christmas Story was in it.
Right.
And it introduced me to Megan Ward, just as Robin Sidney
Yay.
got introduced to you by. It's kind of funny because we both kind of have those girls that we love from the Full Moon movies.
Right. The Full Moon Girls.
The Full Moon Girls, and Megan Ward was just excellent in that, and she was the lead, and she was wonderful. She's just cute, adorable kind of thing. Look to her, and she still is. If you've seen her nowadays, she still looks beautiful, and I really want to see her get back into. I don't know if she'd work with Full Moon again or not, but that would be cool.
Oh yeah.
Maybe if they remade Arcade, she could be like the mom or something.
Trophy Heads 2.
Yeah, she wasn't in Trophy Heads 1, so she could be in Trophy Heads 2. They do that again. I thought that they might redo that, but who knows with Full Moon? They're always busy. But Arcade, just fun. My friend Dustin Hubbard loves that movie too. It's like one of his top. I think that's his favorite Full Moon movie as well. And he reintroduced me back into it. And when I bought it on DVD, I watched it, and I brought him over, introduced him to it, introduced a lot of my friends to it, and it is just wonderful.
The thing is that there's like 200 movies or more or less or something like that, so you can't remember all of them,
Yeah.
you just can't. I can't.
So, and I don't know why that just like completely escaped my memory, or whatever. Had I been looking at my DVDs and stuff, I probably would have saw it and thought about it, but didn't do that, so there you go.
Womp.
But what can you do? But anyway, that is and then we're going to do honorable mentions afterwards, but what is your number one?
My number one is one that I've talked about before, and it's just one of my favorite movies, period. Head of the Family. Again, it's another movie with the wonderful Jacqueline Lavelle, who really, really shows off her comedic timing. This movie is just one of the best written, best acted, one of the best produced films of all of them. And it's kind of funny because people just remember the weird little head in the chair, but it's a lot more than that. I love how they bring in like George Bernard Shaw into this so that they're having this sort of play within a play and forcing them to do it. And it's just so wacky and fun and silly and sexy and it's one of my absolute favorite movies of all time. I would love to get my hooves on a Blu-ray version of that.
I have one, so
nice,
you should buy one from Full Moon, especially if they do some kind of deal or something.
Yes.
So if you're able to get like a bunch of Blu-rays from them or whatever, I'm sure that would be one of them.
That would be fabulous.
It's got a commentary with the head. With the
nice.
guy who plays the head.
Nice.
Not with the head himself, like not the character, but I believe it's with the actor who plays the JW
it was
something.
really, really well acted. I mean, full marks to everybody involved in that movie. It's fabulous.
Yeah, so there you go.
That should have broke that movie, those guys into the mainstream, in my opinion.
So that brings me to my honorable mentions, which is one of them is Head of the Family.
There you go.
Because I love that movie, but it's I haven't seen it enough to kind of vote it as my top 10. I think you introduced me to it.
I introduced you to that one.
Yeah, he brought it over. I showed him Arcade, and he showed me Head of the Family. Did a double feature with my friend Vittorio for my birthday back in, was it 2016 or 15?
15, I think.
Wow, it's been a while.
It's been a while.
But yeah, so he introduced me to that. I introduced him to Arcade, and we watched both those. And I was like, wow, Head of the Family was really good. Arcade has not gotten a Blu-ray yet, and I think it may never get one. And there's a lot to that. I don't even want to go into
it's funny because as I recall, the other one I was going to show you was Killer Eye, but you had already seen. You had already loved Killer Eye, so
yeah,
Killer
Eye. I had it, and I don't have it anymore, so I'm gonna have to rebuy it at some point.
I
don't think it's on Blu-ray yet. It should be.
It should be.
Especially with the eye, and everything. That would look cool.
And there is a Killer Eye 2 out there, isn't there?
There is, but I don't think it's that good from what I've heard. I don't know. I can't say anything because I haven't seen it yet. So I know it's called like Killer Haunt or something.
Right.
Whatever. It's supposed to take place during Halloween or whatever.
We will check it out. And let
Maybe
you know.
we'll check it out for Halloween.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll buy it for Halloween, and that'll be one of the things we'll watch.
We got to figure out what to do. What we're doing for our Halloween special. So
yeah, we're doing a Halloween special for sure. Right. Dr. Mordred is another honorable mention. Jeffrey Combs as a superhero is supposed to be Doctor Strange. I think it was Doctor Strange, wasn't it?
I don't remember.
Yeah, it's supposed to be Doctor Strange. Like they got the rights to it, but then they ended up having to change it, so they did Dr. Mordred, and it became a completely, kind of a different story. But or whatever. But it's a lot of fun. I love that movie.
What about Castle Freak? Did you?
I did not, but I do love that movie.
I mean, it's a very, very simple premise. It's about a freak and a castle.
It's an H.P. Lovecraft too.
It's H.P. Lovecraft, and Jeffrey Combs in that too, isn't he? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that was a pretty good film. It's in my list of honorable mentions.
Yeah, he was like the lead in that one. I think Barbara Crampton was in that one too.
Barbara Crampton.
So
Love Barbara Crampton.
we love Barbara Crampton here. She's a sweetheart. Doll Man.
Oh yeah.
Also Tim Thomerson.
Yeah.
You know, puppet doll kind of thing. Killer Eye, and this one I know you'll love is Bad Channels.
Oh yeah.
Have you ever seen that movie?
I think I've seen parts of it at least anyway.
Yeah, it is literally it's I believe by the same people that did Sea People, so it's very much in that vein, you know, or whatever. But like basically, it's like the radio station is overtaken by aliens and stuff that are just like awful, like whatever. But it was so fun and goofy. It's great. You'd have to check it out. It's a lot of fun.
Like I said, we'll do a little bit more prepared one where we can go back and listen, because there's a few that I remember. I just don't remember the names. I remember there's one I really liked. It was like I don't know, like the worry dolls or worry things.
Dangerous Worry Dolls.
Yeah, that one was really cool. I enjoyed that one.
Jessica Morris, who worked with them, and I think was Robin Sidney in that one too.
Yes, I think so. So there's that one. There's a couple others. I just, I can't remember off the top of my head. And
actually,
so,
Robin may not have been in that one, but
I don't remember.
I do remember Dangerous Worry Dolls did have Jessica, and it was basically set in a women's prison.
Women's prison, right?
Or whatever, like a detention center,
right.
Kind of thing, and so
And it was like another one that was really well done and well acted.
Yeah.
I didn't remember it enough to add it to my list, or else I'd put it on there. I can remember the title.
Yep. But there you go. But
we'll do a more in-depth, well-researched version of this.
I think we'll do that next year. We'll save it for next year, and we'll do, because that'll give us some time to rewatch more, and because there are some I probably haven't even seen that I may,
right?
Yeah, and there's some I may have not seen that I want to put on my top 10.
Right.
Because even though I love these movies and that are on my top 10, I think there's a lot more that I would love to put on there.
Let's face it, watching these movies and Trauma and all the other movies and Christy, it's a full-time job, okay? And I already have a full-time job. So it's really tough for me to be able to go back and watch all of these movies. But I'm going to try.
We'll try.
We'll definitely try. We'll keep you in the loop.
I need to come out here a lot more and do some more like viewing here with him and do some more reviews and stuff, and so we can watch more movies.
Hang out with the monkey.
Yeah, so we got to do that sometime during the week, I think, or whatever.
Yeah,
coming up. So anyway, well, thank you guys so much for checking this out. Please subscribe to our channel. Also as well, check out indiefilmcafe.reviews, which is our, all the links and stuff will be at the bottom of this thing. Actually, just be the link to that thing, so you can check out our Patreon. And what a creepy little lawn gnome.
Oh yeah, I gotta have the lawn gnome.
But anyway, thank you guys so much for checking us out. Hope you enjoyed it. And keep checking back. Monday, Wednesday, Friday is the plan. Sorry that the last review was out on Saturday. Just things have been kind of crazy busy. So
crazy busy.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll continue to do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I think MWF will be perfect.
Right,
so.
And we both have movies that we've picked up in either for Blu-ray Hunter or for Trolling for Stinkers and other stuff that we just haven't gotten to yet that we are going to show and review and talk about.
Yeah, so also check out the Blu-ray Hunter, subscribe to that as well. That's my channel where I'm going to talk about just Blu-rays and stuff, and sometimes Paul may join me with stuff talking about Blu-rays and everything like that too, so we'll probably do more of that together at the studio as well. So
absolutely.
We just didn't have time today because we can only do these, and then we're doing a podcast.
Quick and dirty, but even a quick and dirty video can be a half an hour, so there you go.
Yeah.
More content.
Apparently, we can make a half-hour show out of
we can blab. We're good at blabbing.
Jibber jabbering.
Jibber jabber.
Yeah, there you go. The monkey knows. So thank you guys for checking this out. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Give us a like, subscribe. Also check out the things that we just talked about. IndieFilmCafe.reviews will have everything, including our Patreon, as well as links to our podcast. We have Double D Avenger coming out. this week, so hopefully the same day that this gets released, or just about close to
And
to
you
about.
local yokels, don't forget, we will be letting you know when we're going to have our Halloween party. So keep an eye peeled for that.
So come hang out with us and watch some movies.
Yeah, and
You know.
snackage. Movies
Yep.
and snackage.
Yep. So I've got some friends who want to come out, they just never do. You know, that's just
We'll see.
great. Yeah. Hopefully we'll get some people to come out and hang out with us.
Woohoo.
Watch some more movies.
Outstanding.
Movies.
Yay.
All right. Bye.